Hey, Curtis,
Hey, Oz.
what movie do you have to wrap up the month?
This movie, which was all over the place, we've got Frank Grimes from The Simpsons, plus a combination of Office Space, Network, a little bit of Lethal Weapon, all tied together by the Offspring's hit song Pretty Fly for a White Guy. This week, we're watching Falling Down.
That movie Marriage is about as linear as
Yeah.
this film. So, welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the
Uh-huh.
podcast where we take a monthly theme. We're wrapping up a Ouch month.
Ouch. Yep. Where every movie this month, if the name of the movie happened to you, it would ouch.
Yeah, a lot of painful titles.
Yes, we've had Jawbreaker, Brokeback Mountain,
Whiplash.
Whiplash, Scarface, and we're wrapping things up with this 5-weeker this
Yeah,
month. With
5-weeker.
Falling Down, that would hurt.
Down. Yeah.
And it hurts more the older you get.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. It hurts for some reason. Why does it hurt more when you don't expect it to happen? like, I don't understand. Like, gravity's impact on a body is going to be the same whether it's prepared or not. But for some reason, when you're caught by surprise, it hurts more.
I think it's the bruised ego that comes
It
with it as well.
must be. Yeah. It's the psyche. So,
Yes.
I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I'm the other host, Curtis.
And before we get rolling on, we do want to give a shout out to not only the Chicago Indie Critics,
Yes.
the wonderful critics organization we are both a part of, but also our beautiful Patreon subscribers, Don S., Aaron A., Mandy K., Melissa L., Colin K., and Lyle M. Thank you guys for your patronage.
Yeah.
There is a link down below if anybody wants to join the list.
Yeah. Just saw Aaron A. and Lyle M. this weekend.
Nice. And hopefully Melissa L. as well.
Yeah. Melissa L. is a constant presence.
Yes. So... but thank you one and all for your continued patronage.
Yes, thank you.
Falling Down, a movie I had not seen prior to this viewing.
I hadn't either. There's a lot of movies this month where it's like, I can't believe I haven't seen that. But
there's a couple next month for me too. No, one has been moved around, but the other one I've seen. But yeah, we're looking at a Joel Schumacher movie.
Yes, we are. You never really know what it's like. You do and don't know what you're getting with Joel Schumacher. Like this movie, it's like you do and don't know what's going on.
You're gonna get a level of competence.
Yeah,
like he knows what he's doing behind the camera.
Sure, but he knows how to make a movie.
But Schumacher almost comes off as like a poor man's Michael Bay of sorts. Like I kind of almost put him in that same department of. You kind of know what you're going to get style-wise, but you don't know if it's going to be worth the style.
Camera's always moving. There's always like things are just bathed in weird colors.
Yes.
And,
so some of Schumacher's other films really kind of hit the scene with like St. Elmo's Fire, Lost Boys. He kind of hit some, got some early 90s, late 80s stuff going on there. And then Falling Down, and then he decided, you know what? I should probably make a couple of Batman movies.
Yeah. Let's kill the Batman. The 90s Batman.
But sprinkled in there is like The Client, A Time to Kill. Like he's got these like courtroom, procedural stuff.
8mm.
Yeah, it's like that movie was okay, but then he's like, you know what? Jim Carrey wants to do a horror film. Let's do the number 23. So you just.
Oh, God. That movie was awful.
Right. That's
awful.
That's kind of what it is with Schumacher. It's almost like he wants to do bad movies, but he knows he has to do enough good ones to sprinkle in the bad. And it's like, okay, fine. I'll make your courtroom drama as long as I get to make some garbage afterwards.
The number 23, where everything always adds up to 23.
Oh, Lord. Your plot this week, so I'm gonna get the cast.
Let's see who's in this very, very linear, tight tale of a film.
It's the Google Maps of a movie we're watching here. You almost like you could have picked your route if you wanted to. Which plot line do you kind of want to follow in this movie?
Choose your own adventure.
Right. Do you want to learn about what Michael Douglas's character Bill Foster's doing? Then choose this path.
Yeah.
Do you want to know more about what Robert Duvall is dealing with on the last day of his sergeantship? then choose this path. There's
Do you
tolls.
want to get to know a Nazi or not?
Yeah.
Choose this path.
Yeah, there's tolls on the Barbara Hershey Highway though, so
Barbara Hershey Highway.
You're welcome.
Uh-huh.
All right, so yeah, we do have Michael Douglas as Bill Foster.
Yep.
Our
giant man himself, Bill Foster.
Yeah, the the poor gentleman who has a gravity disorder and he keeps falling down in this movie.
He does, just keeps toppling over.
He's our protagonist / antagonist.
He's everything.
It's a little weird how they've kind of positioned his character in this film.
I think you're supposed to sort of project yourself into him.
I can't.
The bit I get. Like,
yeah.
Again, it's Schumacher,
right?
So there's always a leap of faith.
Yeah. So, and his foil is Robert Duvall.
Sure.
Robert Duvall playing the
the Murtaugh.
The Murtaugh, yeah.
Murtaugh.
I'm playing back and forth in my head. Is it Riggs or Murtaugh? I can't remember which one's which. But yeah, he's playing the Roger Murtaugh character of it's my last day on the force.
My last day.
I'm getting too old for this.
Exactly. Get too old.
And Barbara Hershey plays Beth Trevino, former Bill Foster.
Yes.
That we find out is afraid of Bill Foster.
For obvious and legitimate reasons.
Very good reasons.
Yes.
We get Total Recall's Rachel Ticotin as... She was a tough character to figure out, too.
Well, again, she was basically there just to, give Robert Duvall's Prendergast character somebody to talk to and relate to.
Right. But at the same time, it gave off these really weird, flirty vibes throughout the whole thing, too, of
Well, when you think about what he had at home...
True. True.
Yeah.
But still, I don't look at it someone with a rough home life. It was like, ooh, she needs flirted with. I should probably fill that void. No, because I've got my own at home. So Tuesday Weld steps in as Mrs. Prendergast.
Yes, she does.
And then really just a bunch of caricatures throughout LA.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. We've got an Army surplus owner played by Frederick Forrest that is somehow an even more despicable character in this movie than Bill Foster. And it's other cops, just other people we cross paths with. And that's it really for the cast. It's a pretty small cast. It's really just Douglas Duvall and Hershey that
really
matter.
That's about it. Yeah.
And it's bad police work, and it's just weird. It's just a weird movie.
This movie really it feels more like chapters than acts.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, that you feel like you could put this movie down.
Yeah.
At time. I like that chapter analogy. When you're in the middle of a chapter, you want to keep watching, but the chapter feels like it ends. Like each scene ends, you feel like you could walk away from it and move on with your life and be fine. But then you keep watching because that's what we do. We don't cover half a movie on a podcast.
Well, this movie at IMDb, it's got a 7.6.
Yeah,
which is typically a pretty good rating.
It is. That's because when you get to those low 8s, you're now in the top 250.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll give our official rating later, but 7.6. Nah.
I'd be very curious how many of those high ratings have come post 2016.
Well, I have a feeling that's going to come up later in the show as well. Yeah, but I think a lot of people project their own insecurities, their own frustrations onto the Bill Foster character. Yes, that is definitely going to come back up later. It's when people can identify with this character as a true protagonist, as a true hero of the common man.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel that way too. Yeah, but I'm sure even Charles Manson did some good in his life at some point. It's
he was a musician.
It's like, you know what I mean? I think people are so desperate to find that hero, that
Yeah.
role model that they're like, I don't care about all the other things he's done.
Yeah.
This is, I have this in common with him.
Yeah, to find someone who can kind of champion their cause.
Yeah, despite the fact that it's like, well, what about the rest of his efforts? Like,
Yeah.
He's only human. Like,
Yeah.
So, all right, what do you got for plot?
Let's get into this nice neat plot here. We open on a very, very hot day out in LA, Oz. We've got sweaty lipped Bill Foster, again, the Michael Douglas character. He's stuck in traffic. There's a gigantic American flag hanging off a bus next to him. He's swatting bugs away. He's annoyed by all the people around him. His air conditioning's not working in his car, Oz. His window won't even roll down, and he just can't get that fly that keeps buzzing around his head.
He's had a no good, very bad day.
Nice. His license plate is interesting. It's the capital D hyphen. I don't know. I didn't know they put hyphens in license plates, by the way.
They do if you're Bill Foster.
Yeah. D hyphen cap, and then against all caps, FENS, defense.
Yeah.
Which will come up later. He's sick of being in traffic, Oz. He just gets out of his car at this expressway, grabs his briefcase, just says, "I'm going home," and then just runs away. We're 2 minutes into the film, and Bill Foster is just leaving his car at the expressway and just running away.
Even other people who were equally annoyed are yelling at him. They're like, get back in your car. This isn't helping anything.
Yeah, exactly. And one of those people is Duvall's Prendergast, who's just a couple of cars behind him in the same traffic jam. And so he actually, Duvall's character actually just gets out of his car and helps to push Foster's car just out of the way so people can get by.
Such a small world this movie's creating.
Yep. I mean, LA, it's really just like 3 concentric city blocks, right?
Yeah.
Foster goes to a payphone, which phone booth was another one I thought about throwing into the movie marriage, because it feels like he spends half the movie on payphones.
Another Joel Schumacher film.
Another Joel Schumacher movie. Maybe that was like the spiritual sequel.
Yeah. There was.
Defense was actually the Kiefer Sutherland character.
Right. Yeah.
So from a payphone, Foster calls his ex-wife, Beth. She answers. She's busy with the kids, but he doesn't say anything. She knows it's him, though. She clearly knows it's him. So, first couple of minutes, we get to know the only 3 characters that really matter in this movie. Right. Foster makes his way to chapter 2.
Exactly. This is missing is like the Kill Bill chapter.
Chapter titles. Yeah.
Chapter 2, Korean. Korean shop.
Yes. Yeah.
Korean bodega.
Bodega basically. So Foster goes in, asks for change so he can use the payphone, and so now I'm not going to give you change. You got to buy something.
It's still hot because everything kind of sepia colored.
Yeah, everything's just bathed in that weird.
It's kind of orangey yellow. Everything's just everything. Is it constantly a sunset going on at the moment? Like it's golden hour only in LA.
They only filmed. But between 5 and 6 o'clock.
That's it.
That's it. It took them 3 years to make.
I was going to say it took a long time to make this film, an hour at a time.
Yep, 1 hour.
But everything, even inside of buildings, their light bulbs are this sepia light bulb, sepia fluorescence.
It's made by General Electric.
Exactly. Everything is bathed in this light.
That was actually you stole one of my potential huhs.
Oh, sorry.
Why is everything yellow in this movie? Everything's like your dehydrated pea color.
Exactly. Yeah. Everything. It's lacking electrolytes.
Exactly. This movie's just a pitch for Gatorade.
It is, yeah.
Or Pedialyte.
That's right.
So the store owner says, "No, I'm not going to give you change. You got to buy something."
Right.
And so he overcharges him for a Diet Coke. And then Foster, again, we're 5-10 minutes in the movie, just goes on this racist rant. Super racist. You come to my country and don't have the grace to learn the language. Yeah. Uh-huh. So of course they start fighting. The shopkeeper, who I think rightly so is afraid of Foster at this point, reaches for a baseball bat. And so Foster sees him do this, so they start fighting, and Foster gets the bat from him, of course, knocking over a mug of tiny American flags. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
This movie is very subtle, by the
Yeah.
way.
The Blue Angels fly over at this point.
It's America the Beautiful plays in the
No
background.
kidding. Carrie Underwood singing it a cappella.
Carrie Underwood, yeah. So the owner just says, take the money, and Foster's like, what are you talking about? Because
Yeah.
the owner assumes that he's there to rob him at this point.
I don't want your money.
No. And
I just want to give you a consumer's ed lesson.
So Foster just tells the owner, you're the thief for overcharging. I'm rolling prices back to 1965.
Ugh.
That quote really stood out to me because of the whole, like, you know, and again, just for reference, we are in late January of 2025 at the time of this recording. There was a couple of quotes early in this movie that, like, yeah. So we're trying to go back to a greater time. To paraphrase something.
Yeah. When things are great.
Yep. So Foster uses the bat just to destroy the store because he doesn't like the prices. Yeah.
That's right.
While
he's quizzing him on how much does this cost?
Yeah.
How much is it for a bottle of aspirin? Like $3.29. Wrong. And then destroys, like, well,
yeah.
I don't know if you're proving your point here, but he gets back around to the can of Coke. How much for a can of Coke? 50 cents. That's better.
Yeah. Gives him the dollar, takes his change.
Yeah.
Because he's the hero. He's the champion.
That's right. I'm just trying to keep inflation in check.
Very prescient this movie was.
Yep.
So we cut to Prendergast. Again, Duvall's character back at the police station. He's told, it's his last day as Murtaugh here. Anything can happen today, he's told by his coworkers, who kind of give him a hard time. You get the impression that Prendergast is not thought of very highly by most of his coworkers.
No, he's giving the like Simon Pegg, like Lieutenant Angel vibes here of like, I take my job seriously and the rest of you don't. But because there's more of you than me, then you kind of mock me for.
One of these days we got to work Hot Fuzz in.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Maybe we need hot month, quote unquote hot month.
We could just do a whole I knew if I was trying to think of the director's name, I'd lose it. But
Edgar Wright.
I
think we might actually have that as a possibility.
We probably do.
Yeah, we probably do. I just want to talk about Hot Fuzz now.
I like Hot Fuzz. I love that movie.
So Prendergast is there. We meet Sandra, what's her name from Total Recall's there. She's really the only person who's kind of treating him with any dignity.
Right.
He, of course, Prendergast gets the first of several distressed calls from his wife. We see that they each have the same picture of a young girl, and he ends up talking down his wife by playing London Bridges from a music box. It's really bizarre. You get the impression right away that something's off.
But it was Fergie's London Bridge.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I didn't recognize it.
Yeah, it was Fergie for the Black Eyed Peas. It was her rendition of it.
This movie screamed Fergalicious.
Right.
So we cut back to Foster. He's just he's sitting on a bench somewhere, just kind of taking a moment to himself. And he is accosted by two Latino gang members for being in their territory. Foster, of course, is very racist in response.
Yes.
And they demand, give me your briefcase. They pull a knife on him, pull a switchblade. Give me your briefcase. He ends up beating one of them with a baseball bat. And the other one runs off. And of course, he keeps the knife. Mm-hmm. Finders keepers is another thing I could have worked in the movie Marriage.
It's like that episode of The Office where like Dwight started with like a paperclip and worked his way up. He just kept trading things until he ended up with like the big prize. That's what it was for Bill Foster. He just kept trading up in weapons.
Got back and forth back to the police station. Prendergast is taking a statement from the Korean shop owner, who says that the perp, or as my notes say, the prep, didn't steal anything. That's the guy who came in after Foster.
Well, he came in and told he's the one that came in and said, "We've got a guy. I need you to get ready."
It was Zach Morris. Like Preppy.
It was Preppy. Yeah, Mark Paul Gosselaar played the Asian officer in this movie.
It's very versatile, that Mark Paul Gosselaar.
He's good, underrated.
Yeah,
for his versatility.
He's like oh god, I almost not Stan. Why by blanket? Ben Kingsley, and then he gets
Yeah,
cast.
yeah.
He gets cast as everybody.
He's like Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, Alfred Molina, another one. Yeah. So Korean owner just says he didn't steal anything, but he other than the bat, he paid for his soda, and so they're like, so what's wrong?
um,
Yeah. We get Prendergast is exit interviewed because it's his last day by the captain, who is the dad from Dewey Cox. It took me a
Yes.
moment to put that together.
Yeah, me too. I noticed him, but I didn't like register. But now that you say it, I'm like, yeah, that was him.
Yeah, that was the dad from Dewey Cox. Particularly bad case of somebody being cut in half.
Right. Wrong cops retiring.
Wrong kid. So we learn for sure, putting together the not so subtle pieces from the pictures before, that yes, Prendergast and his wife lost their daughter, heavily implied that their marriage is suffering. Back to Foster again. He calls Beth again, insists I'm coming home for our daughter's birthday.
Right.
And Beth just says, you're not allowed to be here. And he responds with, Beth, don't talk like that.
How dare you?
Yeah, of course. And she threatens to call the police because she's a sane person and he's a crazy person.
And she has a restraining order against her husband. And he's like,
Beth, don't talk like that.
That doesn't apply to me.
While he's on the phone, he's at another phone booth, just like in front of a store. The same Latino gang members with others do a drive-by shooting, and of course they hit several bystanders, but not him.
I think they hit all the bystanders.
Hit everyone.
Except him.
Except him in the phone. So of course he just calmly walks away, and as he's walking away, this car kind of ends up somehow careening out of control, crashes. All but one of them die. And of course there's just this sack of guns. There's like an arsenal with handles.
Exactly. Yeah.
That he just grabs and brings with him. So now he has a bat, he has a knife, and he has a sack of guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, it we know at this point that Foster's unhinged. Mm-hmm. But it still bothered me in this scene when he's on the phone and this drive-by shooting is happening and bullets are riddling all over the place. Mm-hmm. He didn't get hit. That's fine. It bothered me that he didn't even react.
Yeah.
Like there was no ducking for cover. There was no, it's like he just stayed there on the phone as all of this mayhem is happening around him. And it bothered me because I don't know enough. Obviously, you're more versed in this, in the mental fields than I am. But I felt like there should have, when you hit that level of being unhinged, you don't even have like reactions anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I mean, you know what I mean?
That level of disassociation.
Yeah.
I would find it very hard to believe that that he
didn't even
respond to
flinch
that degree of external stimulus.
Right. And that's kind of how I felt, is it's like at some point, like just instinct would cower or something.
Yeah.
And
he just puts his hand over the phone.
Right.
Keep it down.
Guys, don't talk like that.
Just tells them the same. That's just his standard response. Don't talk like that.
Don't talk like that.
Don't talk like that.
Yeah, it bothered me when I get these guys are open fire. I get not with a handgun, like they got an Uzi.
Yeah,
just
these are like automatic machine guns.
This entire block, people are getting murdered, and he's just hello, Beth,
hello.
It's. Again, I'm okay with him being detached because that's obviously what his character is. But it just got to the point where I'm like, it was like androidian here.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'm pretty sure that his privilege protected him from the bullets.
That's true.
As well as the noise.
Yeah. Right. It was just, I felt it was an odd choice just to not even have him react.
Yeah.
From the gun shooting, then because he reacted when the car flipped, he went up and he flipped himself. Like,
yeah. Well, he could identify with that.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, that car flipped out like I do.
Just like I did. So we go back to Beth again. We're again, we just keep jumping for,
Right.
amongst all three characters here. And, Beth calls the police again. She has a restraining order, like you said. We're not married anymore. He has this horrendous temper. This scene really bothered me. There was a younger police officer, male police officer, who was there taking her statement, and he's just very dismissive.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a horrendous temper, but like, you feel threatened, but has he ever actually hit you?
Right. Like this isn't warranted.
Yeah, shut up and do your job.
Yeah, we're ma'am, in LA we react to crimes. we're not proactive to crimes.
Oh yeah, that scene really, really bothered me.
Yeah.
Later, Foster observes several panhandlers. He's accosted by one who claims to be a homeless vet. Foster calls him out on his inconsistencies in his story. Just very unsympathetic. Ends with, "Get a job."
Yeah. Just
get a job, because it's that simple for people who are chronically homeless. Just get a job.
Right.
Yeah. Foster keeps his gun bag, but he ends up giving this homeless man his suitcase, like his briefcase, which which
I don't need it anymore.
What the gang members were asking him for before. Just has his lunch in it.
Yeah.
That's it. It looks like this nice fancy briefcase. Of course, I'm sure it's going to be filled with gold bullion, as well as important government documents. Probably Swiss bank account numbers.
You open it and it just emits a light, like in Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Yeah. It's Ving Rhames' soul.
Yeah, it's just an angelic chorus you hear as you open it. Back at the police station, Prendergast observes a young woman who was with the Mexican gang. Says his friends were attacked by a white man with a bat, and Prendergast is kind of putting two and two together. There's the Korean man, there's this young Latina.
Do you think this movie is what convinced Joel Schumacher he should make a real Batman movie? He's like, what? Bill Foster
really is a vigilante.
He is, with a bat, so he's kind of a Batman himself. Yeah.
Nice. Foster goes to Whamburger. As I think, again, I don't know a ton about this movie, but from what I've gathered, this is the scene that I think most people remember from this movie.
Yeah, they do.
So
I saw that a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes to this local burger chain, orders a breakfast item, but he's told we're on the lunch menu now.
Yeah,
it's like 11:35. Like,
exactly
11:30.
Right. Yeah, and again, everyone is just so dismissive. Like, the lady at the front desk, there's no, "I'm sorry, sir." It's just like, you moron. It's 11:35. Calls the manager over, and he's even like, "Yeah, you're a moron. It's 11:35.
So Foster tells the manager, "Have you ever heard the expression, the customer is always right?" He goes full Karen.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Big time.
Now I think about it, I should have put that in my movie, Mary.
Cut back to him. He looks like
he
looks like the Long Island medium. He's just got the huge hair.
So Foster pulls the Uzi out of the bag of guns, accidentally shoots the ceiling. Then he changes his order. You know what? I'll have a burger instead of like the breakfast item that I wanted. He then expresses his discontent when the burger he receives doesn't look like the burger in the picture on the marquee.
Right.
Later, we go back to Prendergast again, as he has a very awkward conversation with his wife. She is demanding that he comes home. Really awkward. While you're out playing cop, I'm at home alone.
Right.
Like, he's doing his job.
Yeah,
he's not playing cop. He is.
She's something.
Yeah.
It felt like just kind of like a useless character. Like, I'm not really sure what her involvement in the film created outside of just giving him a reason to want to be at work all day.
Well, there's enough of a narrative arc with Prendergast, where by the end, he's more empowered. You even see his body language, see it. But like that's really the only purpose for her,
right?
Is to be the foil to him.
Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah,
she clearly has some mental health issues going on. Just grief beyond grief, and this is how she chooses to take it out. And
later she calls him because the cat scratched her. Like,
I guess just laying the guilt on him.
Yeah, just what an exhaustive relationship.
Yeah. Prendergast confirms to his partner that his wife is making him retire early. After their daughter died, he came home late, and his wife, thought he was dead one time. So like she's just, second time in the last couple months, like she's dissociating as well. Like she's clearly got some struggles and some pretty acute needs there. Prendergast and Sandra go to the Korean shop. Prendergast realizes it's very close to the route he took to work, so he runs up the hill, get a little pep in his step because he's got purpose now. Oz, he's on the trail.
I'm hot on the case. Takes out his monocle and throws it in.
So he looks, he runs to the top of the hill right above the Korean shop, and lo and behold, that's exactly where he was that morning. He sees Foster's car, gets the license plate and everything from it. Defends. Later, Foster runs across a black man wearing the exact same outfit he's wearing. White shirt, dark tie, the exact same tie. In fact, he's protesting outside of a bank. He was rejected for a loan, told he is not economically viable.
Yes.
As the man is arrested, the man kind of yells out the window of the cop car to Foster, "Don't forget me." Later, we see a man screaming at Foster for being selfish while he's taking his time using a payphone.
Yeah.
So Foster just pulls out an Uzi and shoots up the payphone.
Yeah.
Because, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, Oz, we get to the point we're at the military surplus store. We're gonna turn the page to this chapter.
Yeah, chapter 7.
Yep.
The army.
Foster, he's shopping for shoes because he had a hole in the bottom of one of them. So he goes shoe shopping. Incredibly bigoted white male store owner pulls a gun on a gay couple that's shopping there, is incredibly homophobic to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
While Foster's in the back, Officer Sandrick pops by. She's looking for a man with Foster's description, but the owner ends up protecting Foster. Later, he tells him, "We're on the same side."
Yeah, you're like me.
Yeah, we're the same.
Yeah.
Gives him an RPG because he likes him so much.
There you go.
We're the same.
What role-playing game do you think it was?
It's probably D&D.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe Magic the Gathering.
Final Fantasy V.
Just handed them 20-sided die.
Exactly. There you go. You're just like me.
And again, this guy calls Foster a vigilante. Foster tells him otherwise. In America, we have the freedom of speech, the right to disagree. In America. Makes the owner very mad. Yeah, so the owner severely threatens Foster. Foster ends up stabbing the owner who had pulled a gun on him, and then Foster shoots him dead.
Yeah.
Hero? Lesser of two evils?
I would not have been surprised if Joel Schumacher would have just had Bill Foster walking around completely human body with just like a bald eagle head.
If only this movie was made a couple years later when they would have had the CGI for that.
Yeah, like the most recent like Robbie Williams biopic where he's just a monkey. Like just an American eagle head. Like that's him. Like this, he embodies America.
He defines America. Defines entitled America.
Yeah.
Foster calls Beth again. He says, "I'm past the point of no return."
I took the 405 to Valhalla. I can't go back now.
Californians. I should have worked. Oh, I'm shooting myself so much with my movie marriage now. I could have worked in the Californians. What are you doing here?
Beth, what are you doing?
What are you doing? He tells her that in certain South American countries, it's still legal to kill your wife. What a psycho.
I'll see you soon.
Oh, God. So, I mean, if it wasn't subtle enough, he's now dressed in full military tactical gear. Comes across.
Oh, yeah. He's gone like suit and tie are gone. It's all oversized black clothing now.
He comes across a construction site, insists to a crew member, there's nothing wrong with the street. You're just fixing it to milk the system. Keep the budget flowing. What a hero for the common man here,
Because
Oz.
if you don't spend it, you won't get it in your budget next year, right?
So, of course, Foster, to teach a lesson, pulls out the RPG, doesn't know how to work it. But fortunately for him, Oz,
Yeah.
there's a group of school children on bikes there. One of them...
that have seen Beverly Hills Cop 2 and
Exactly.
therefore know what to do.
Yeah, who tell them this is how you work it.
Yeah.
And so Foster accidentally lets off an RPG and causes an explosion like you would if you fired an RPG.
Thankfully, when he fired it at the ground, it went exactly into the opening of a tube that then took it to the other end of said tube.
Yes.
And didn't just blow up on impact.
They were constructing a giant bank.
That's right.
It didn't come out the other end until the teller opened.
That's true. Yeah, you have to open the...
Took the thing out, unscrewed the lid. Ah! So stupid. So Foster hops a country club fence. He's yelled at by a rich old man. Foster shoots the golf cart, and of course the man has a heart attack.
And his medicine's on the golf cart,
which rolled into a pond. Why don't you go get it?
Every single person Bill Foster comes across in this movie is a jerk right away.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And then that's what I think I really don't like about this film is the way that they put it out there is that Bill Foster is a victim.
Yeah.
Everybody victimizes Bill Foster because everybody is just 100% jerk all the time.
Yeah.
And so now it's like you can, like we mentioned not pre-show, but earlier, like you can now associate with him because you're like, yeah, he should be upset. Mm-hmm. Everybody is mean to him. And they're not bullies. They give this vibe that like everybody works at Ed DeBevick's. They're all just rude jerks. Yeah. And until you stand your ground, and if that means you pull a gun, that means you pull a gun, then that's when everybody starts to back down. But everybody is a jerk.
You're just gonna get walked down unless you stand your ground, like you said.
It doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your ethnicity. Mm-hmm. Everybody will victimize a white American man if given the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Ironically, the only people I think in the entire movie that don't do that are the next people he comes across, which is a family who he takes hostage. Because there's now sirens, of course, because he just opened fire at this rich country club,
right?
And he takes them hostage. He says, my job lost me. I'm overeducated, underskilled. I'm obsolete. I'm not economically viable. Repeating the line that the man outside the bank said,
because he didn't forget him.
and Foster is legitimately surprised when the family insinuates he's taking them hostage.
Right.
Well, I'm not. Yeah. No, I'm not taking you hostage.
Right. It's like
I just need you to do exactly what I say.
Right, right. As I hold your daughter.
Yeah, with a gun.
Yeah.
So Prendergast and Sandra go to Foster's mother. We learn Foster's a military veteran. He used to work for the DOD. Mother said he's building important things to protect us from the communists.
Okay, Mom.
She says he's very distant, rarely speaks. She's afraid of him as well. Foster blamed his mother for his failed marriage.
Yeah.
Prendergast finds his wedding ring in a family drawer. They discover he was fired over a month ago. So his mom's wondering where's he been going to eat his lunch. back at the
Little
station.
Italy, Chinatown. Really feels comfortable in Koreatown and
phone booth.
Exactly. The phone booth.
Phone booth because of the phone booth. So back at the station, Prendergast's wife calls again. And Sandra picks up the phone, and the wife just goes, "Who the F is this?"
Right, yeah. Oops.
Put my husband on. And then, as you mentioned before, that's the whole cat scratch. Yeah. Mr. Peeper scratched me. I'm bleeding to death.
It's everything that's so, like, it's so hard to take her character, seriously. When you're stacking up the way you're building Bill Foster's character, because she's clearly in as much need of mental help as he is.
Yeah,
but
clearly.
But it's just they almost play her up for laughs. Like I didn't find her character funny, but just but it's almost played as like, oh, look, he's
And
even
it's Pendergast's
yeah,
crazy wife.
that's right. And they even make that reference later.
Yeah, like his coworkers. Yeah, so like Prendergast finally tells his wife, Amanda, shut up. I'll get home when I'm finished. Is
Right.
that clear?
Yeah.
And I think it's supposed to be validating.
I think so.
Like you're supposed to feel for Prendergast sticking up to his wife. So before he leaves the office, his coworker surprise him. There's like a cake and a stripper.
Right.
But Prendergast ends up punching. There's like a yuppie cop.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the best way I could describe him.
Right.
Who says, have you met his wife?
Yeah.
And yeah, again, it's supposed to feel validating, but it just feels weird.
It does. It does feel weird.
Yeah. So we're into what I guess we could loosely describe as Act 3 now, Oz.
Chapter 9.
Chapter 9, Act 3. Foster calls Beth again, and this time he's only a block away.
Yeah, I'm at our favorite place.
Yeah. It's like this little ice cream shop, and she knows like he'll be here literally any moment.
It's literally right next door to where we live. Our favorite place is our neighbor.
That's why they moved there.
we live in Los Angeles, and our favorite place is 14 feet away.
So Beth grabs the daughter, whose name is Adele.
Adele, yeah.
Doesn't really mean anything. They run out the back door as Foster sprints to the home, goes inside, and he ends up just sitting down. He's watching videos of him and his young Adele. He's watching one where he's yelling at Beth as crying infant and a crying infant Adele because he wants a picture of her on the hobby horse. And Beth is like in the video, like, Bill, you're scaring her. So, I mean, again, clearly the writing is on the wall.
Yes.
Then. And for just a moment, he looks regretful. Just a moment.
Yeah.
Just a teeny tiny moment of humanity and guilt from him.
A moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the video, Beth mentions that Adele loves the pier. Ooh, that's got to be where they went. Adele loves the pier, so that's where they went on. So they went to the pier.
They went to the pier, yeah.
They went to the pier. Prendergast and Sandra arrive, and off camera, Foster shoots Sandra. They must not have had the budget to include that.
No.
On camera. Oh, he shot me. Bang.
Ouch.
Ow, owie. So, of course, Prendergast takes her gun because the captain had taken his earlier. Camera follows Foster as he's running across the pier. Adele's happy to see Daddy. There it is. Foster, he hugs and very forcibly kisses Beth. She reminds him, like, we're not married anymore. And then he says, Sugar, does this ring a bell? Till death do us part.
Right. Yeah.
So he pulls the gun off, scares everybody off. So it's just the three of them left there. He drops it to hug Adele. Beth tells Foster, like, you're sick. You need help. And then he just says, the city is sick. Not me. It's the city.
That's right.
Can't be my fault.
I'm fine. Everything else has gotten worse.
Prendergast then interrupts. He had somehow strolled up without being seen or heard.
Ordered an ice cream. Ordered
it was a bag of popcorn.
Yeah, ordered a bag of popcorn while waiting.
Put some butter on it. Yeah. Get the salt shaker. Maybe that powdered cheese.
Yeah, I did get a kick out of that. Like, not only him sneaking up, but then like ordering a snack before addressing the the situation.
Maybe that's his go-to move. He always has a bag of popcorn.
Well, he was gonna have some cake, but then he punched that guy into it, so he's just hungry.
There you go. Got to keep the blood sugar up.
Been busy all day. I haven't had my lunch.
You'd be upset too. So he walks up. He's just calmly talks about fishing, moving to Arizona. He sees Adele. Says my wife wasn't cut out for motherhood. Said child death of infant death syndrome. And he kind of tears up as he gives Adele the popcorn. Foster puts down the gun, which Beth then grabs and throws off the pier. So she and Adele run off. So it's just Pendergast there with his gun on Foster at this point. And Pendergast just tells Foster, like, you were going to kill them and then yourself, right? And Foster just kind of looks down, like he doesn't answer. Like,
right.
That's probably
what he was going to do. Yeah.
So, and then at this point, I put this in bold in my notes. So Foster realizes and says, wait, I'm the bad guy? How'd that happen? I did everything they told me to do. I built missiles. I helped to protect America. I should be rewarded for that. Instead, they gave it to the plastic surgeon.
Yeah, because he was really bummed out that because when he come across that family earlier,
Mm-hmm.
that family had kind of snuck on because he was like the groundskeeper of that
Yeah.
mansion, and so like his family was just swimming while the surgeon was gone. So there was that conversation back and forth of who lives here, plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was pretty upset that his military job didn't land him the gravitas that
Yes.
plastic surgery does.
As you said before, well said before, he's the victim, right?
He's a victim.
Yeah. Prendergast just tells him the only thing that makes you special is that little girl. So Foster tells Prendergast, I have another gun in my pocket, and he starts counting to 3 just to kind of force Prendergast's hand. You know, it's the death by cop thing.
Yeah.
You know, so Prendergast shoots him. Yeah, and there's a little epilogue here. The awful police captain is talking to the media about how one of theirs put all this together. Prendergast, in typical mid-90s action film, Prendergast walks by and on camera says, F you very much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they'd been giving him a hard time earlier that like he never swears. He's never said a swear word. He's like straight. And so this was him.
Yes, good call.
Good call. Uncovering and he's turning a new page and like I was going to retire, but I'm gonna hold off because I'm a swearing man.
Prendergast sits down with Adele on the steps of their house and tells her, my name is Mud. Which, as we were talking pre-show,
I'm going to be your new daddy.
And you're going to release albums. And they're all going to come out you're going to name them after the age you were when you made them.
Yep. It's going to be a real good time. I'm not crazy, but it's okay.
Or I'm going to lease this thing to Primus, and they're going to make a sweet song out of it.
That too.
Yeah.
So.
And we cut to credits as the camera pushes into a home video of the happy Foster family.
Yeah.
And that Oz is the 7.6 IMDb rated Falling Down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a feeling our 3, 2, 1s are going to have a lot in there. But before we get to that, hey, at this point in the show, folks, Oz and I each give our own unique rating about the film we yap about every week. This week, Falling Down. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this all the guns in the world because that's what the little Latina gangbanger had mentioned when he's like, well, how many guns are in the bag? And she just went, all the guns in the world. So that's right. A lot. Good
pull.
A lot of guns.
Yes, that is a lot of guns.
So what are you giving it?
I'm just giving it all the phone booths in LA.
All the phone booths in the world.
All the phone booths in LA.
The TARDIS and
the one Superman changes in.
Yeah, that one.
The phone booth for Bill and Ted's.
Yeah, all of them.
They're all there. Next up in our comedy segments, Oz and I have been scouring the interweb searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. On our next segment, Outside Insights. Oz, what is your outside insight?
I've got 3 short ones.
Yes.
First one is from Chris Evangelista.
Okay.
Left March 12th of 2022. Chris says,
recent.
People say this has aged poorly, but if anything, a movie about a racist, violent guy who thinks he's a victim and who thinks he's right about everything is more relevant than ever. So thank you, Chris Evangelista. Outside Insight number 2 from Darren, left August 27th of 2021. People would totally idolize Michael Douglas's character Bill Foster if this movie came out today and missed the point entirely. And third from John Rule, left John Rule, not John Rule,
not John Rule. Okay.
Yeah, John Rule, left July 9th of 2019. This is what happens when Dwight has had it with Jim's pranks. So those are my 3 outside insights. Dwight has had it.
He's done. He's had it.
So what do you got?
I'm going to share 2 as well here. So my first, as always, they both come from the Internet Movie Database. The first one is a 3 out of 10, left February 3rd, 2023. I think the common thread here is everything we pulled was very recent. Again, we're in January 2025 at the time of this recording. Left by SMC Gilly. Terrible. I finally got around to watching this turd. Shocking. Acting is so bad and over the top. The motivation of the main character is weak. This was a joke. So many tropes, so little believability. It's like a high school play with people overacting. Shockingly bad. Yuck.
Okay.
My second one is a 1 out of 10, left in July 2021 left by Elsie Belsie. Also lived with Marcy Darcy.
Yes.
Film so bad, I made an IMDb account.
Oh, wow.
Woman to woman here. If a man ever tells you he loves this movie, consider it a red flag and hit the ground running. I was beyond shocked to come here and see that people sympathize with the main character as an everyman.
Mhm.
This movie was so beyond terrible that I felt obligated to make an IMDb account for the first time, despite my many years of lurking and trivia seeking, because I felt so strongly that it was that poor of a film. Mm-hmm.
I get
There's
it.
a common thread there.
Yes, I think so. I definitely think so.
Yep. Yeah, kudos to you, Elsie Belsie, for seeing
Yes.
right through this movie.
Yes, agreed.
All right, folks, it is that time you've been waiting for, the Let's Talk About Flicks signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and just 1 about this week's movie, 1993's Falling Down. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
Like I mentioned earlier, I had a hard time finding 3 things I liked about this film. It's not that it was a bad film, but it's just there's not a whole lot to like about it. My first is I do enjoy a day in the life story, like just kind of a snapshot. We don't really know a lot about pre-Today Bill and obviously post-Today Bill. But just, I like that day in the life story. Like, everything happens within a short time frame. I don't mind those. 2, this movie does pose some real questions. And I think, if you're looking for a way to litmus test a person without raising too many obvious flags, you could always ask, hey, you seen the movie Falling Down? What'd you think? And then their reaction to said question could answer a lot of questions for you.
I like that. I think that's going to be one of my opening conversation starters with people that I meet. Hey, have you seen that movie Falling Down?
Like some people you can peg from a mile away, but I think like Elsie Belsie was talking about, like this is a question you could pose to a person that feels very innocent, but I think could answer a lot of questions for you in a very short amount of time. So this movie does pose some real questions. And my third is, I was really struggling with the third one. How I liked the unpredictability of Bill Foster. Because as time went on, yes, we were expecting him to go overboard because that's what his character did. But then there were those times where there were just obvious restraint to where he was crazy. Let's not deny it. But it's like he still had compartmentally his crazy. Like, I'm not going to shoot up this restaurant. I just want breakfast. And it's like he relied on that he relied on his weapons no different than like Batman or Wonder Woman rely on their gadgetry of like, well, this is going to be a tool that helps to get my result. And like even like the back, like the storeroom conversation with the army surplus guy. It's like, he and Bill had a lot of similarities, but as Bill's watching him, he's disgusted by this man, in his actions. And it's like, so I guess I did, it kept the movie fresh, I guess. That what's Bill going to do in this situation, because there was no moral compass, but they wrote it and directed in such a way. And Douglas, I think, did a great job acting in this film.
He got the point across.
Of playing it as, I still have a moral compass. It's just not anyone else's moral compass. So
The Bill character, as I kind of heard you sort of kind of frame things there. It's the fact that he when the neo-Nazi thought we're the same.
yeah,
It's I'm
yeah,
thinking of like Bill sort of on the like the political social spectrum there,
right,
and he's not as far right could be. I think
exactly,
he's close,
yeah,
but he's a notch from the end.
right,
He's got the entitlement, and he's he's the whole like, like I'm not racist. I have a black coworker, kind of,
yes,
like,
yeah,
you know, like, and but again, he draws the line at the hardest of hard rights,
yeah,
like the stuff that is so despicable,
right.
but everything up to that
Yeah,
line right
he
there.
was giving off vibes of several years ago when there was that Black Lives Matter march
Yeah.
through a neighborhood. I don't remember what city it was, but there was just those like wealthy white people that stood out there with their
Yep.
guns, and
Mhm.
it's like that's where I would put Bill Foster.
Yeah, he wouldn't open fire on them.
Yeah, but I don't want you.
But-
I don't want you here.
Yeah.
And
you
and
you don't
yes,
belong here.
and
Yeah.
yes, we did see him kill in this movie, but those instances were retaliations at violence against himself.
Mhm.
Like he hated minorities, and he was extremely racist. But he's like he's in the just leave me alone. Like just leave me alone. If you just go away, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not defending him in his actions at all, but writing him to where it was his actions became somewhat unpredictable was interesting in the narrative of the movie.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that.
So, what are your three goods?
My three, let's go with I do, and again, it's kind of sad that they had to do this, but at least they finally were explicit at the end where Foster is asks out loud, so I'm the bad guy?
Yeah.
Like almost to like his realization is almost there to let the audience know, like, yeah, he is
Yeah.
the bad guy.
If
You're
you've
not
been
supposed to empathize
if
with
you've
him.
been hitching your ride to this guy all along.
Yeah. I still don't think that some people got
No.
that.
Oh well, no.
Yeah. But like I again, it shouldn't have to be said, but at least they said it.
Yeah.
In a movie that sends a lot of confusing mixed message. Well, I don't know about confusing, but a lot of mixed messages.
Yeah.
My second good is it held my attention.
Yeah, it did.
And I'll give it that. It was almost a 2-hour movie. Didn't feel like 2 hours, which is a credit to pacing and editing.
Right.
And it does have, as we talked about with our kind of joking, it's more like a chapter book than it is your typical 3-act structure. It didn't have the normal, the 3-act Hollywood structure,
right?
Which
right.
I appreciated part of the storytelling and editing aspects of it, some of the technical stuff, just because it was a quick watch for me.
Yeah, it did. They didn't overstay their welcome in any location. Like
it just flipped the chapter.
Like you said, they kept rotating between Bill, Beth, and Prendergast, and we didn't hover with any of them longer than we needed to.
Yeah.
To get back to whatever the next person was doing.
In its own warped, weird way, I could see this movie being like a play, being like a live stage production,
I could
because of that kind of chapter format.
Yeah.
And my last good is right at the opening. During the opening couple of moments, we get a Garfield window cling on the inside of a car.
We did. Yeah.
So
and it was sweating.
kudos to a Garfield window cling. That's my last good. Oz, what are your two bads?
My first one is obvious, like the army surplus guy. Like,
yeah,
are they all that way? Like, I don't know. I've never been into an army surplus store, but I feel that there's a stereotype that you see in film, and it all seems to be the same. And so I have no need to go into an army surplus store, but I'm curious if surplus stores are all that same way of like. You go in and you guys seen Falling Down. Oh my God, greatest movie ever. Like, okay, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, and you're not going to get any of my money.
My second bad is that The movie starts out with him leaving his car in Pasadena, and Beth lives in Venice. That's a 9-hour walk. I Google mapped it. That's a 9-hour walk. We didn't see him on any vehicle at all in this film, and it looked like it was rush hour traffic at the beginning of the movie. So, yeah.
I mean, when he cut across that country club, he really shaved a couple of miles off of the trip.
True. Now, yeah, I was taking a street guide walk, but
it's a big country club.
But yeah, it's a 9-hour walk from Pasadena to Venice. And that was his beginning and end destination in this movie. And so my question would be, how did it happen in 9 hours?
You take the 405.
Exactly. Take it to Mulholland.
What are you doing here,
unless every time they cut to Prendergast or Beth, he was, hitching a ride. But it seemed like but there was that on the map, they could track everywhere he'd been. So it was odd because that 9-hour walk, Bill Foster found a faster way. Yeah. Foster found a faster way to get from to get from Pasadena to Venice. So
he was using the MapQuest route, not
That's
Google
true.
Maps.
That's true. This was pre MapQuest or pre Google Maps, I suppose. So those are my two bads. Is the Army surplus guy and the time frame of the walk didn't match up. What do you got?
For my bads, Joel Schumacher has a really weird way of shooting things. And there's a lot of weird camera up close in people's faces, and I don't know. Schumacher films just look weird to me. We talked before about the weird color grading and how everything looks like
jaundice.
Like a bruise.
That's
in the halfway through healing.
It does. Everything's got that tint to it.
Yeah, it's I don't. It's just Schumacher films look weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe people like them, but yeah, that's my first bad. And my second one is, and I'm looking at all of my other possible bads, and they basically all align with this statement in some way. The Bill Foster voting bloc swayed the 2024 presidential election.
Yeah,
people who identify with the Bill Foster character in this movie, that was the difference.
Yes,
people who feel victimized, people who feel alienated, people who feel like no one is standing up for them, no one is standing their ground, as we've talked about earlier. Who's helping me?
Yeah.
I'm the victim.
Don't ask what I'm doing to help myself.
No, clearly. No. It's not my job to help myself.
Right. I don't want a socialist country, but I just want people to help me. With no strings attached. Just help
exactly.
Me.
Yeah. Bring those prices of eggs down.
Yeah, but just do it because I could really use the help.
Yeah.
Well, how about free government health care? No.
Oh, God, no.
No, that's wrong.
How would someone profit off of that?
Right. Are you profiting? No, I'm actually losing my shirt because of healthcare.
But someone who's already ungodly rich could be richer.
Yeah. And if I've always had to pay for healthcare, so should everyone else.
There you go.
Right. There should be no free in the future because there's no free now.
Oh, the word should, my friend. Yep. So those are my two bads. What is your for this movie?
Do all LA police officers have a terrible last day? Murtaugh's last day was terrible. Prendergast's last day is terrible. It's just something about the LA police force.
Although at least in both of their cases, they kind of got to reclaim their sense of being.
They did, yeah. It's like they found they were retiring too early. That was the problem. I guess it's like how Fannie Mae Chocolates declared bankrupt. They said they were going out of business, and then everybody bought Fannie Mae to the point that it kept them financially afloat, and they never went out of business. I think that's what it is being an LA police officer. You announce your retirement so that a big case lands on your last day, just so you can rescind your retirement because you got a new look on life. So what is your Because I know you just have one.
I'm going back and forth between a couple. I'll say I'll the second one will be my official
Okay.
The first one we've kind of talked about already. Just why is everyone so mean?
Yeah,
why is everyone so mean?
Just everybody. other than just we have to make sure that people understand that Bill Foster feels victimized.
Yeah.
But again, like, but he's a terrible human being. That doesn't mean you should be mean to him, but we also shouldn't sympathize with him.
Yeah. So yeah, that just getting that out of the way.
Probably because it was hot. That's really like climate change was the real bad guy of this movie. Just so stinking hot.
Climate.
It's just so hot.
So my real is right at the end after Prendergast shoots Foster. Why does Foster have to? Because he had pulled out his kid's water gun, like a little, like one of those like transparent plastic water guns, and so because he had a gun in his pocket, I'm gonna pull it on you on the count of 3, just to force Prendergast to shoot him. And so he pulls out the pistol, and as he's falling backwards over the rail on this pier, he pulls the trigger of the water pistol to make sure that
I missed that. Yeah,
it's like in Commando, where after every guy gets riddled with bullets and does the chicken dance, they always have to point their gun up in the air and let off a couple of rounds in their dying breath.
It's just rigor mortis setting in real quick.
That's what it hits your index finger first. That's how rigor mortis works. That is a medical fact.
To be fair, it was really hot in that jungle too. Heat activates rigor mortis very quickly.
Heat activated rigor mortis.
It's a thing.
Living in the mid, it's at RAM. It has an acronym and everything.
We don't experience it as much here in the Midwest unless it's summer. But other than that,
Yeah, and I just realized my acronym was off.
Yeah, it's all right. Ham.
Har.
Heat activated rigor mortis.
Heat activated rigor mortis.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's so hot out there. I'm stiffening up. Quick, somebody check my pulse.
I hope I don't die, because if I die, I will seize. Every muscle will seize.
Stiff as a board. You try to get me out the door. Heat activated rigor mortis.
Harm.
Well, that, folks, is 1993's Falling Down. I am glad we were able to laugh through this recording, because this movie, there's not a lot of fun in this movie.
No, there's not.
And the more you think about it, it gets even less fun.
Right. It's not a fun movie.
No. And that concludes Ouch Month, Oz. January 2025 has come to a close.
Yeah, we are kicking off February, which, as we've done for the last few years, will be Wives' Choice Month, where you get 2 picks from your wife and I get 2 picks from mine. And because your pick wrapped up this month, we start next month with my wife's pick, a movie I have not seen before. Episode 171 to kick off Wives' Choice Month for 2025 will be Flashdance.
Yeah. A good change of pace coming off of Falling Down.
I think a lot of similarities though between the Jennifer Beals character and the Prendergast character.
Yeah. It's also her last day as a cop, just in Pittsburgh instead of LA.
It's her last day in the factory.
18-year-old welder.
But you know what? That day sparks a whole new career path for her. So, but no, I this is one of those that I get a lot of looks when. Like, not that I have a lot of conversations about 80s movies I haven't seen, but I think it's just one of those that people just assume everybody that likes the 80s has seen Flashdance. And I've not seen it.
I hadn't seen it either. I watched it last weekend. So
I think though that's a testament to us as men, when obviously Jennifer Beals is a sexy character in this movie, and there's the very infamous pouring water on her, basically the self-imposed wet t-shirt contest. And I'm like, I've not seen it, and so I hope I earn brownie points for that here at home. When because my wife's like, I haven't seen it. I'm like, no, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all.
Falling Down would have been a much better film had it also had that scene in it of Prendergast just pulling the chain. Not Foster, Prendergast pulling the chain. Just bathing himself in water.
Especially in all that heat. Like,
it's so hot.
That's what he does to get Foster's attention on the pier.
He ran out of popcorn, so
that's right.
He pulls the chain and bathes himself in water. Imagine how different, had that happened to Foster.
Yeah.
While he was sitting in traffic, he would have had a much better day.
Much better day. So, but next month, Wife's Choice. We got 4 weeks of movies coming from our loved ones.
It's gonna be a fun month too.
Definitely will. I know my wife will watch her 2 movies with me. But that's usually about all I get out of her. Is we've pivoted to shows. We've been binge watching shows quite a bit, and so we just wrapped up about a week and a half ago the most recent season of Handmaid's Tale, which is in the current political environment has been something.
I can't watch that show.
It's hard.
Like,
it was hard.
I'll watch any horror,
yeah,
but I tried getting into Handmaid's Tale, and it was just too real for me. And this is like 3-4 years ago now, and
it was hard.
Just like I couldn't get through it. It was just like it was like just the stress I was feeling. Yeah. I couldn't get through it.
The early seasons definitely had that stressful. There got to a point where you kind of jumped the shark a little bit, to where it wasn't near as bad. It was still obviously that climate, but you could tell the source material they've eclipsed, and so now we've got a successful show that we have to write ourselves.
Sure.
And so Hollywood writers took over as opposed to source material.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to like Game of Thrones and
you beat me to the punch there.
And Walking Dead. It's like once you caught up to the source material, and now you're just left with Hollywood writers writing Hollywood stuff. Yeah. And so everything gets a little more fantastical, and it's such an obvious pivot, which is so weird. Like when you're watching a show like a Game of Thrones and you're like, this is great. Like anybody could be a victim. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh, you've gone beyond the novels and now you got to write your own stuff. Okay. Well, that's why I understand that these people never die anymore. Like nobody's ever a victim. And so they kind of got a little bit of that with Handmaids and late season 4 and season 5, but it was tough. Like there were times, not that I feel like I necessarily deserve to feel the way, but there were times where I'm like, I feel terrible as a husband. Like, like I've got a daughter and a wife, and what can I do to make things better? And I'm like, no, that's not real life. Like, but it's eerily.
There's a scene that sticks out to me, and I think I just by dumb luck watched this scene like a week or two after January 6th.
Oh, okay.
And it was like early in it was like a flashback scene in which the family is in the apartment, and they're like there's like news on the screen, like gunmen open fire in Congress, and I think she's just like paralyzed watching this, and I'm just like, no, I can't watch this.
Yeah, the closest I think I've ever gotten to that kind of like just overstimulus is during COVID. My wife and I watched Contagion.
Oh, yep.
Now it's a movie I'd seen before, but watching it in the heart of COVID, it's like, oh my gosh, like this movie. It was so predictive of like it was genius how much accuracy there was in the film based on real life, because you just chalk it up to Hollywood. You're like, oh, it's Hollywood. But then you actually live through a pandemic. During the pandemic, you watch a movie like that and you're like, oh my gosh, these are all the same departments. These are things that I'm hearing on the news that you're talking about in a movie. And
Anthony Fauci actually starred in Contagion as well.
Right. It was just scary. It was a scary movie.
There's a couple of scenes in that movie that were filmed a couple of blocks away from Patreon subscriber Melissa L's grandparents' place in Western Springs, Illinois. Yep.
Oh, did not know that. But yeah, it's a great movie, but man, it really hit a nerve.
Yeah,
watching it at that time. So, and I'm sure if I were to like watch Jaws on an inner tube in the water, it would probably do the same exact thing. But no, it's been there. So, but we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna go to Flashdance, a movie that we hope doesn't spark anybody's fear nerve. You're like, oh my god, that reminds me of this.
This one time somebody threw a bucket of water on me.
I was trying to relax in a chair. They just dropped it from above. And what a feeling I had.
I had leg warmers on, and suddenly the circulation of my feet got cut off.
Oh, it was so weird. Heat activated rigor mortis kicked in.
Couldn't move my index fingers.
You just got so stiff. Like, thankfully, though, that water cooled me off and I relaxed. So, all right.
Heat activated rigor mortis.
Social media wise, guys, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're not Twitter. We're not on Twitter. No. We're on TikTok, and we're not even really on TikTok. We're on TikTok, but I don't think anybody watches the TikToks, which is fine because who knows how long they're going to be around.
Yeah.
But those nice people at Facebook and Instagram, though,
they understand America.
They are there for us. Yeah. So, we'll have to start sharing our stuff to like Ben and Jerry's or something like that.
There's just a QR on the side of a pint of Americone Dream.
Exactly. Yeah. You could get a free episode. You join our Patreon. Scan the QR code on your Cherry Garcia.
There's a little like LCD screen on a fish food.
There you go.
It's just us on a loop.
It's just us on a loop. So. All right. Well, you got anything before we take off?
No, I'm looking forward to Wife's Choice.
Yeah, month. Wife's Choice Month is always a fun one, and we'll get 4 more, much more lighthearted films over the course of this month.
Falling Down.
Yeah, Falling Down and Brokeback was tough. And Whiplash was tough, and Scarface was tough, and the good films, but you didn't walk away feeling good about them necessarily.
No,
so
you're definitely ouched.
Yeah, so this month I think will be a little lighter in that note.
Yes,
so
yes.
For another week, let's talk about flicks. I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis,
and we'll see you guys next week with Flashdance.